Welcome back to It's Better Health. This is your space for honest, practical, science-backed guidance to help you stay mobile, independent, and strong, no matter your age. If you're ready, go ahead and grab yourself a warm cup of coffee, find a comfortable seat, and settle in. Because what we're about to uncover today might just surprise you. Do your legs feel heavier than they used to? Do simple movements like standing for long periods, climbing stairs, or walking to the mailbox suddenly feel like a struggle? If that sounds familiar, stop and pay close attention, because what you're about to hear may completely change how you think about your health. Most people assume that leg weakness is just a normal part of aging, but that's not always true. What if the very things you're doing to stay healthy are actually draining your leg strength day by day, step by step? In this video, we're going to uncover a hidden truth that few people talk about. 2 common vitamins, ones most seniors take regularly, could be silently weakening your muscles, accelerating fatigue, and even increasing your risk of falls. Yes, vitamins. The ones you may be taking with full confidence, believing you're protecting your bones, preserving your strength, and doing everything right. But here's the catch. When taken in the wrong form or dosage, these vitamins don't protect, they sabotage. They trigger inflammation, impair mineral absorption, and disrupt your body's delicate balance. The result? More stiffness, more soreness, and a frightening loss of control over your own legs. So if you've been waking up feeling tired, sore, or unsteady, if you've noticed your legs just don't feel as firm or responsive as they used to, then I strongly encourage you to watch this video until the very end. Because today, we're not only exposing the 2 worst vitamins harming your legs after 60, we're also going to walk through 15 common foods and habits that are making the problem even worse without you even realizing it. And most importantly, you'll learn what to avoid, what to replace, and how to restore the strength and mobility you deserve, naturally, safely, and effectively. So stay with me, because this may be the most important health video you watch all year. 15th, sugar and sweets, the sweet saboteur that weakens your legs. Let's start with one of the most beloved and most dangerous enemies of your leg strength, sugar. Sugar and sweet treats are often linked with comfort, celebration, and enjoyment. But once you're over 60, this seemingly innocent indulgence can quietly become a major threat to your muscles, joints, and mobility. Here's why. Refined sugar fuels chronic inflammation. Every bite of cake, every sip of soda triggers an inflammatory response in your body, especially in your muscles and joints. Over time, that inflammation makes your legs feel more sensitive, more swollen, and more prone to stiffness and fatigue. But that's just the beginning. Sugar also directly contributes to insulin resistance, which interferes with how your muscles use energy. Without enough efficient fuel, your muscle fibers weaken, recover more slowly, and become less responsive. The result? You feel tired faster. Walking becomes harder. Climbing stairs starts to feel like a chore. And as if that weren't enough, sugar also contributes to weight gain, especially dangerous in older adults who are already losing muscle mass naturally with age. Every added pound puts more pressure on your leg joints, accelerating wear and tear, leading to discomfort, instability, and eventually loss of function. What's more, excess sugar promotes the buildup of toxins in the body, which further aggravates inflammation and reduces circulation, meaning your leg muscles receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients. That makes it harder to repair, harder to recover, and harder to stay strong. Think about it this way. Even something as small as a slice of pie could be silently sabotaging your legs, trading short-term pleasure for long-term pain. And if you're thinking, well, I just eat sweets occasionally, here's a hard truth. Most store-bought desserts also contain chemical additives, like preservatives and artificial colors, which amplify the inflammatory effects of sugar. It's not just about sweetness. It's about the toxic combination of sugar, additives, and refined flours that attack your muscle health from every angle. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up dessert altogether. You just have to make smarter choices. Try replacing store-bought sweets with healthier alternatives like cinnamon on baked apples, homemade oatmeal cookies with less sugar, or Greek yogurt with berries. These options still satisfy your sweet tooth, but without harming your joints, spiking your blood sugar, or inflaming your muscles. Your legs and your taste buds will thank you. And this is just the beginning. Because next, we're looking at a food that's even more common and possibly even more damaging. Let's move on to number 14. 14th, fried foods. The crispy crunch that cripples your legs. If sugar was the silent saboteur of your leg strength, then fried foods are its crispy accomplice. Delicious on the outside, destructive on the inside. We all know how tempting fries, donuts, or crispy chicken can be. That golden crunch, the comforting smell, it's hard to resist. But after 60, your body no longer recovers from those indulgences the way it used to. Fried foods are loaded with trans fats and saturated fats, the kind that ignite inflammation throughout your entire body. And where does that inflammation settle first? Right in your joints, muscles, and blood vessels. That's why many older adults notice that after eating fried food, their legs feel heavier, stiffer, or even sore the next morning. But the damage runs deeper than discomfort. Trans fats actually interfere with blood circulation, making it harder for oxygen and nutrients to reach your leg muscles. Without proper blood flow, your muscles can't recover or repair efficiently. They become sluggish, undernourished, and prone to fatigue, even after light activity like walking around the house or getting up from a chair. And poor circulation isn't the only issue. Fried foods also contribute to plaque buildup in your arteries, further blocking the delivery of essential nutrients to your lower body. That means your legs get weaker, your joints start to ache, and your risk of falls or imbalance quietly increases. And let's not forget the weight gain factor. These foods are high in empty calories and low in nutritional value. That extra weight doesn't just strain your heart, it burdens your knees, hips, and ankles with every step you take. Think about how often these foods sneak into your diet. Donuts at breakfast, fried chicken for lunch, or fast food for dinner. One meal might not seem like much, but over time, these choices create a steady stream of damage that chips away at your leg's strength and mobility. And what do you get in return? A few moments of flavor at the cost of long-term independence. But here's the hopeful part. This is one of the easiest habits to change. Try baking, air frying, or grilling your favorite foods instead. Swap deep-fried snacks for roasted vegetables, crisp baked sweet potato fries, or even lightly pan-seared fish in olive oil. These options still bring flavor and satisfaction, but without suffocating your muscles or inflaming your joints. And remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Even one less fried meal per week can give your legs a chance to breathe, to recover, and to regain the energy they've been missing. Next, we'll talk about a food that seems innocent. It's on nearly every breakfast table, but could be stealing your muscle power one bite at a time. Let's move on to number 13. 13th, white bread, the soft staple that starves your muscles. After cutting back on fried foods, you might think reaching for a slice of soft white bread is the safer choice, but think again. White bread may look harmless on the surface. It's light, convenient, and often a go-to for breakfast, sandwiches, or toast. But beneath that fluffy texture lies a major threat to your leg strength, especially after 60. Here's why. White bread is made from refined flour, which means all the fiber, protein, and nutrients have been stripped away during processing. What's left is a high glycemic, fast-digesting starch that spikes your blood sugar and gives you nothing in return. Each time you eat white bread, your body experiences a surge in glucose, followed by a rapid drop. That energy crash leaves your muscles underfueled and more prone to fatigue. Over time, this roller coaster effect can lead to insulin resistance, meaning your muscle cells have a harder time absorbing the fuel they need to stay active and strong. And without fuel, what happens? Your muscles weaken. Your legs feel heavier. And everyday movements start requiring more effort than they should. But it doesn't stop there. White bread also lacks protein, which is essential for preserving muscle mass, something your body naturally begins losing with age. And while you may not notice it at first, small declines in muscle mass can lead to larger losses in mobility and balance, especially in your lower body. And let's not forget the weight factor. White bread is often combined with butter, jam, cheese, or sugary spreads, all of which increase calorie load and inflammation. That extra weight, once again, puts pressure on your leg joints, accelerates wear and tear, and sets the stage for chronic pain and instability. It's a perfect storm. High blood sugar, low energy, lost muscle, more weight, weaker legs. But here's the good news. Bread doesn't have to be the enemy. You just need to choose a better kind. Look for whole grain or sprouted breads made with oats, flaxseed, rye, or quinoa. These options offer fiber, plant-based protein, and minerals like magnesium that support muscle contraction and repair. Pair it with healthy fats like avocado or a boiled egg, and you've got a complete, leg-supporting meal. Remember, it's not about cutting out everything you love. It's about upgrading what's on your plate and giving your legs the fuel they need to carry you with strength and confidence. Now, speaking of things we might enjoy a little too often, let's talk about a habit that millions indulge in, especially during social events, but one that quietly sabotages your joints and drains your leg power over time. Let's move on to number 12. 12th, alcohol, the silent drain on muscle recovery and balance. We've talked about sugar, fried foods, and white bread, all quiet culprits that weaken your legs. But now, let's look at something that's even more deceptive: alcohol. A glass of wine at dinner, a cold beer on a warm afternoon, a toast during celebrations. These habits may seem harmless, even enjoyable, but after 60, alcohol begins to affect your body in ways that directly undermine your leg strength, your balance, and your ability to stay mobile. Let's break it down. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at metabolizing alcohol. That means even moderate drinking can lead to greater internal stress, especially in your muscles, joints, and key nutrient systems. First, alcohol interferes with the absorption of vital minerals like calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D, all of which are absolutely essential for keeping your muscles strong and your bones stable. When these minerals are depleted, your legs are the first to suffer. More cramping, more fatigue, and higher risk of fractures from weakened bone density. But that's only part of the problem. Alcohol also slows down muscle repair. After any physical effort, even something as simple as gardening or taking a walk, your body needs time and nutrients to rebuild muscle tissue. Alcohol delays that recovery process, which means you stay sore longer, feel tired more easily, and lose strength over time. And then there's dehydration, one of the most overlooked dangers of alcohol. Even one or two drinks can dry out your muscles, reducing flexibility and leading to painful leg cramps, especially at night. That nagging discomfort? It may not be age, it may be the wine. But perhaps the most surprising impact is what alcohol does to your liver and kidneys, organs that play a key role in filtering toxins and maintaining balance in your muscles. When these systems are under stress, waste builds up, inflammation increases, and your muscles, especially in your legs, suffer the consequences. You may have already noticed the signs. Waking up sore after a night of drinking, feeling unstable or heavy in the legs, needing longer to recover from activities that used to be easy. And let's not forget weight gain. Alcohol is calorie-dense, and the extra pounds often settle around the midsection. That central weight throws off your balance and puts more pressure on your hips, knees, and ankles. The result? More strain, more stiffness, and faster leg deterioration. The connection is clear. Even light to moderate alcohol intake can create a ripple effect of weakness and imbalance throughout your lower body. But you're not powerless. If you enjoy an occasional drink, try to limit it and balance it with proper hydration, mineral-rich foods, and alcohol-free days each week. Your liver, your joints, and your legs will thank you. And next, we'll take a closer look at a group of foods that many people keep in their fridge for convenience, but that hides a dangerous truth for seniors trying to stay strong. Let's move on to number 11. 11th, processed meats, the salty shortcut that slowly weakens your legs. After discussing the hidden effects of alcohol, let's turn our attention to something even more common and far more deeply rooted in daily habits: processed meats. From ham and bacon to sausages and deli slices, these products are everywhere. They're fast, convenient, and for many, a staple at breakfast or lunch. But what most people don't realize is that processed meats can quietly chip away at your muscle health, joint stability, and leg strength, especially after 60. Let's unpack why. The first red flag is sodium. Processed meats are loaded with it, far beyond what your body needs. Excess sodium causes fluid retention, which often shows up as swollen, heavy, or stiff legs. That bloated feeling you sometimes wake up with. It may be more than just water weight. It could be the first sign that your circulation is struggling to do its job. Next, these meats are packed with chemical preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. These substances are added to extend shelf life and improve color, but they come at a cost. They trigger chronic inflammation, especially in the joints and muscles of your lower body. This means more pain in your knees, more stiffness in your calves, and a greater sense of fatigue after even simple tasks like walking or standing. But it doesn't end there. Processed meats are also high in saturated fats, which reduce blood flow by narrowing your arteries. Poor circulation deprives your muscles of oxygen and essential nutrients, both of which are critical for strength, repair, and endurance. Over time, this leads to weaker legs, slower recovery, and increased risk of imbalance or falls. And while all this is happening inside your body, processed meats are also contributing to toxin buildup. Your liver and kidneys, already working hard with age, now have to filter more chemicals. When overwhelmed, these organs can't eliminate waste effectively, leading to muscle fatigue, soreness, and slower overall function. Another little-known fact: preservatives in processed meats may interfere with glucose metabolism, reducing the energy available to your muscles, especially in your legs. So even if you're eating enough calories, your muscles might not be receiving the energy they need to perform properly. That constant feeling of leg heaviness, that slow burn of fatigue, it could all trace back to what's sitting between two slices of bread in your lunch. Now, here's the good news: you don't have to give up meat. You just have to choose cleaner, less processed options. Swap bacon for avocado or eggs. Replace deli ham with shredded chicken breast. Try grilled fish or lean cuts of beef instead of prepackaged cold cuts. These changes might seem small, but they lighten the burden on your muscles, reduce inflammation, and give your body the support it needs to stay strong and mobile as you age. And next, we're going to look at a food that's cheap, fast, and beloved around the world, but when it comes to leg strength, it might be one of the most dangerous. Let's move on to number 10. 10th, instant noodles, the quick fix that drains long-term strength. They're cheap, they're fast, they're easy. But when it comes to keeping your legs strong and steady after 60, instant noodles might be one of the worst choices you can make. At first glance, they seem harmless, a warm bowl of noodles that fills you up in minutes. But underneath the surface lies a dangerous cocktail of ingredients that slowly chip away at your muscle function, joint health, and overall vitality. Let's start with what they're made of: refined flour and chemical additives. Instant noodles are ultra-processed, meaning they've been stripped of fiber, protein, and real nutrients. What you're left with is a high-calorie, low-nutrient meal that spikes your blood sugar and gives your muscles nothing of real value. That sudden spike and crash in blood glucose can cause energy swings, making your legs feel tired, shaky, or even weak, especially during physical activity. But that's just the beginning. The sodium content in instant noodles is shockingly high. A single serving can contain over half your recommended daily sodium, and that doesn't include the extra packet of flavoring. Too much sodium leads to fluid retention, causing your legs to swell and feel heavy. Increased blood pressure, which reduces circulation to your lower body. Delayed muscle recovery, meaning your legs stay sore and tired longer than they should. Poor circulation means your leg muscles don't get the oxygen and nutrients they need, and over time, this leads to muscle fatigue, cramping, and reduced coordination. And what about those flavor packets? They're not just salt and spice. They're loaded with monosodium glutamate, MSG, preservatives, artificial colors, and additives, many of which have been linked to chronic inflammation, joint discomfort, and metabolic dysfunction. Over time, this can make your legs feel stiffer, slower, and more unstable, and those quick meals begin to show their long-term cost. Even worse, instant noodles lack protein, magnesium, calcium, and other key nutrients needed to protect muscle mass. That means the more you rely on these meals for convenience, the more your body quietly loses strength, step by step, bowl by bowl. And the impact isn't just muscular, it's metabolic. The lack of fiber makes digestion sluggish, and the rapid spike in blood sugar increases your risk of insulin resistance. This creates a feedback loop where your muscles get even less of the fuel they need to function well. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up warm, comforting meals. You just need to upgrade the ingredients. Try whole grain noodles, brown rice, or quinoa bowls with real vegetables, a boiled egg, and a touch of olive oil or turmeric. These options provide fiber, healthy fats, and anti-inflammatory nutrients that support recovery and mobility without overwhelming your system. Remember, your legs carry you through every day of your life. They deserve better than instant fixes that bring lasting harm. Up next, we'll explore a snack that smells like childhood and tastes like celebration, but behind its sweet exterior, it may be slowly sabotaging your joints and muscles. Let's move on to number 9. Ninth, industrial cakes, the sweet trap that undermines your legs. They smell like comfort. They taste like childhood. But if you're over 60, those soft, sugary industrial cakes may be doing more harm to your legs than you realize. At first glance, these store-bought treats, cupcakes, snack cakes, packaged muffins, seem like harmless little indulgences. But behind the appealing frosting and fluffy texture lies a formula packed with processed sugar, hydrogenated fats, and synthetic chemicals that quietly damage your muscles, joints, and metabolism. Let's break it down. First, industrial cakes are loaded with refined sugar, which spikes your blood sugar levels and triggers inflammatory responses throughout your body. And where does inflammation strike hardest in aging adults? The joints, the muscles, the knees, the ankles. It makes your legs ache, feel stiff, and recover more slowly after activity, all while draining your energy reserves. But it doesn't stop at sugar. To improve texture and shelf life, these cakes often use trans fats, a form of hydrogenated fat that's been banned in many countries due to its role in increasing bad cholesterol and decreasing good cholesterol. Trans fats narrow your arteries, restrict blood flow, and deprive your leg muscles of the nutrients and oxygen they desperately need to stay strong. The result? Slower muscle recovery, greater fatigue, and over time, a noticeable decline in mobility and muscle tone. But there's more. Industrial cakes are packed with emulsifiers, stabilizers, dyes, and preservatives, substances that the body doesn't easily recognize or process. These additives disrupt your immune system, promote chronic low-grade inflammation, and damage joint tissues. That's why people who regularly consume these sweets often experience aching knees and ankles, a heavy, dragging sensation in the legs, a cycle of fatigue and reduced activity that leads to further muscle loss. And yet, these cakes contain virtually no nutritional value. They're full of calories, but devoid of protein, magnesium, calcium, and other nutrients that aging muscles and bones depend on. Imagine trying to fuel a car with low-quality gas filled with debris. The engine might still run, but poorly, and it will break down sooner. That's exactly what's happening to your legs with each sugary, processed slice. But the solution doesn't mean giving up sweetness altogether. You can still enjoy baked goods. Just swap the industrial versions for homemade treats made with whole grain flours, natural sweeteners like honey or fruit, and heart-healthy fats like olive oil or nuts. You'll still get the joy, but without the muscle damage, joint inflammation, or energy crashes. And as you begin to feed your body with real ingredients, you'll feel the difference. Lighter steps, less pain, more strength. Now, we move on to a food that masquerades as rich, creamy comfort, but carries hidden dangers for circulation, joint health, and long-term mobility. Let's take a look at number 8. Eighth, ultra-processed cheese, the creamy culprit crippling your legs. It spreads like butter. It melts like magic. And it sneaks into our sandwiches, snacks, and meals without a second thought. But here's the harsh truth. Ultra-processed cheese, like cheese spreads, pre-sliced singles, and melt in the microwave blocks, could be slowly crippling your leg health after 60. Let's unpack what makes this creamy favorite so concerning. First, ultra-processed cheeses are packed with sodium, not the kind your body carefully regulates, but the excessive, added kind that wreaks havoc on your fluid balance. Too much sodium causes fluid retention, which shows up in swollen, heavy legs that feel puffy, sore, or even numb. If you've ever felt your ankles throb or your calves swell after a cheesy snack, that's not just coincidence. That's your body struggling to keep up. And it doesn't stop there. These cheeses also contain high levels of saturated fat, which over time stiffens blood vessels and reduces circulation. Less blood flow means less oxygen and fewer nutrients reach your leg muscles, slowing down repair, weakening strength, and making your legs feel more tired with every step. But perhaps the most damaging aspect of processed cheese is what it lacks. Unlike real cheeses like ricotta or cottage cheese, which retain natural proteins and minerals, ultra-processed versions offer very little nutritional value. They're often stripped of high-quality protein and contain additives like phosphates and artificial preservatives that interfere with your body's mineral absorption, especially calcium and magnesium. Without enough calcium and magnesium, your muscles can't contract or relax properly. That means more nighttime leg cramps, more stiffness in the morning, and more soreness after simple activities. And that's not all. These additives also promote low-grade inflammation, which over time targets your joints, especially in the knees, ankles, and hips, areas that bear your body's full weight and naturally weaken with age. Have you noticed feeling more sluggish after a cheesy snack? More bloated, less mobile, or just off? It could be your body signaling that these processed products are doing more harm than good. The good news? You don't have to give up cheese altogether. Instead, choose fresher, less processed alternatives like ricotta, cottage cheese, feta or mozzarella in moderation. Small portions of aged cheeses with minimal ingredients. These options still give you the creamy texture and rich flavor, but without robbing your muscles of strength or your joints of flexibility. Every bite is a choice between taste and long-term mobility. Choose the version that lets your legs move freely and confidently. Up next, we'll talk about a treat that's loved by millions on hot summer days, but hides dangerous sugars and fats that can quietly wear down your leg strength with every scoop. Let's move on to number 7. 7th, industrial ice creams, a cool treat that leaves your legs cold. Remember the last time you treated yourself to a scoop of ice cream on a hot afternoon? That satisfying chill, the creamy swirl, a sweet escape from the heat. But then, just hours later, your legs felt stiff, your ankles ached, and your energy dropped like the last melting drip of that cone. Coincidence? Not quite. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Industrial ice creams, especially the heavily processed, store-bought kind, might be one of the most underrated enemies of leg strength after 60. Let's start with what they're hiding. These frozen desserts are often made with refined sugar and saturated fats, creating the perfect storm for inflammation, especially in the joints and muscles of your lower body. And that inflammation? It doesn't just make your knees throb. It slows circulation, delays muscle recovery, and creates that heavy, dragging feeling in your legs. Now add in the blood sugar crash. Ice creams spike your glucose quickly, then drop it even faster. That rapid swing starves your muscles of steady energy, making your legs feel weak, fatigued, and unstable. It's like giving your muscles a flash of fuel, then pulling the plug right when they need to move. And we're not done yet. The artificial colors, thickeners, and emulsifiers found in many industrial ice creams are more than just hard-to-pronounce ingredients. They're metabolic disruptors. They irritate your gut, confuse your hormones, and block your body's ability to absorb nutrients like magnesium and calcium, minerals that are absolutely essential for leg strength and bone stability. All that damage, and yet, what do these treats actually give your body in return? Empty calories, zero muscle support, and a lot of long-term regret. But here's the twist. Not all ice cream is created equal. If you love a frozen dessert, and who doesn't, you don't have to give it up entirely. You just have to upgrade it. Try a small bowl of banana-blended, nice cream with almond butter. Homemade yogurt pops with real fruit and chia seeds. Or even low-sugar, high-cocoa dark chocolate gelato. These options can still satisfy your sweet tooth without spiking inflammation or crashing your circulation. Because when it comes to your legs, every bite matters. So next time you're reaching for a frozen treat, pause. Your future steps depend on the choices you make today, even the ones that melt in your mouth. Now, let's move on to a sweet favorite that shows up in gift boxes, afternoon pick-me UPS, and guilty pleasures, but could be quietly stealing your energy from the inside out. Let's explore number 6. Sixth, milk chocolate, the sweet talker that drains your strength. You've had a rough morning. Maybe the weather's gloomy. You unwrap a square of milk chocolate, and for a moment, all feels right with the world. But here's the question. What if that tiny comfort is secretly setting your legs up for discomfort, weakness, and fatigue? Let's be clear, milk chocolate isn't your enemy because it's chocolate. It's the formula hiding behind the sweetness that does the real damage, especially after 60. Let's take a peek inside that little square. High sugar, low muscle support. Most commercial milk chocolate bars are loaded with refined sugar, the same sugar we've already linked to chronic inflammation, insulin spikes, and the dreaded energy crash. What happens when your blood sugar roller coasters? Your leg muscles are left in an unstable energy state. Too much, then too little, and that's a recipe for muscle fatigue, weakness, and reduced endurance. And if you're already losing muscle mass with age, as most people over 60 are, that sugar crash hits even harder. Saturated fats and the circulation crisis. Milk chocolate also contains saturated fats, often from dairy and added oils, that narrow your arteries and reduce circulation to your legs. Less blood flow equals less oxygen. Less oxygen equals slower muscle recovery and more soreness after activity. It's no wonder a few pieces today can feel like a heavy step tomorrow. Not enough cocoa, not enough benefit. Here's a little-known fact. The health benefits of chocolate come from cocoa, not the sugar in dairy. Unfortunately, milk chocolate contains very little actual cocoa. That means you're getting barely any of the antioxidants and flavonoids that help reduce inflammation and improve blood flow, but all of the sugar and fat that cause problems. It's like wearing the costume of a hero while doing the work of a villain. Artificial additives equals real damage. Commercial chocolates often contain emulsifiers, preservatives, and artificial flavorings. These ingredients might help texture and shelf life, but inside your body, they disrupt digestion, weaken nutrient absorption, and aggravate joint inflammation, particularly in the knees and ankles. Over time, that builds up as aching joints, sluggish muscle response, and decreased balance and control. So what should you do? Ditch the candy bar aisle. Instead, look for high cocoa dark chocolate, ideally 70% or more, with low added sugar and no artificial ingredients. A small piece of dark chocolate not only satisfies your sweet tooth, but also delivers flavonoids that support circulation, fight inflammation, and protect your muscles, all while keeping your blood sugar stable. Because let's be honest, life's too short to give up chocolate. But it's also too precious to trade leg strength for a sugar buzz. Next, we'll look at a pantry item that seems innocent, even practical, but hides a dense mix of sodium and preservatives that could be flooding your legs with fatigue and stiffness. Let's move on to number 5. Fifth, canned foods, the shelf-stable shortcut that sabotages your legs. They're easy. They last forever. And they make cooking feel almost effortless. But behind that shiny label and convenience, canned foods could be quietly draining the life from your legs, one bite at a time. Let's be honest, we've all reached for a can of soup, beans, or even canned meat when time was short or the fridge was empty. It feels like a practical choice, until your knees start aching, your ankles swell, and your legs feel like lead. So what's really inside those cans? Sodium overload equals swollen, heavy legs. Most canned foods are loaded with salt, and not the kind your body can easily balance. In fact, just one serving of canned soup or beans can have more sodium than your body needs for an entire meal. And when sodium builds up, the body starts holding onto water like a sponge. The result? Fluid retention in your lower limbs, swelling in your calves, a tight, uncomfortable sensation around your knees and ankles. All signs that your legs are struggling to keep up. Preservatives and chemical additives. Canned meats and processed vegetables often contain preservatives like sodium benzoate, nitrites, and phosphates, which are meant to preserve freshness but can disturb your body's natural balance. These chemicals increase chronic inflammation in the joints, impair nutrient absorption, especially of muscle-friendly minerals like magnesium and potassium, put extra stress on the liver and kidneys, making it harder for your body to eliminate waste. And when your detox systems are overwhelmed, toxins start circulating longer, especially affecting the legs, where blood flow is already slower with age. Low nutrient density equals high damage potential. Here's a hard truth. Even canned vegetables and meats, though technically food, are often stripped of essential nutrients during processing. That means you're filling your stomach, but starving your muscles. Your legs depend on protein to maintain muscle mass, magnesium for relaxation and recovery, calcium for bone support, B vitamins for energy metabolism. And most canned meals, they come up short on all of them. Aluminum and long-term risk. Ever wonder about the can itself? Over time, aluminum from cans can leach into food, especially acidic items like tomatoes or soups. While the exposure is small, frequent consumption may contribute to muscle fatigue, nervous system stress, and reduced coordination. For seniors already facing mobility decline, this subtle toxicity is the last thing your legs need. So what can you do? You don't have to give up convenience, just upgrade it. Try frozen vegetables, just as quick, far more nutritious. Home-cooked stews in bulk, stored in glass containers. Fresh cuts of lean protein or beans soaked and cooked at home. Low-sodium canned goods, if needed, always rinse before use. Even small swaps like these lighten the toxic burden on your legs, reduce swelling, and give your muscles the clean fuel they need to stay active and responsive. Because behind every can of quick and easy could be a slow, steady decline in your independence, and you deserve better than that. Now, let's turn our attention to something that may live right next to those cans in your pantry. Brightly packaged, always tempting, but packed with hidden harms for your strength and circulation. Let's move on to number 4. Fourth, filled cookies and processed snacks. Small bites, big damage to your legs. They're convenient, they're colorful, and they seem harmless. Just a little cookie or cracker to tide you over between meals. But if you're over 60, these filled cookies and ultra-processed snacks could be slowly robbing your legs of strength, stability, and resilience, one bite at a time. Why? Let's look closely. These products are often packed with artificial additives, flavor enhancers, preservatives, synthetic dyes, stabilizers. While these ingredients might give snacks a longer shelf life or a more appealing color, inside your body, they do something far worse. They increase the toxic load on organs like your liver and kidneys, directly interfering with how your body processes nutrients and fuels your muscles. At this stage of life, your body can no longer absorb and store nutrients as efficiently as it used to. That means every snack you consume should support your health, not strip it away. But processed snacks do the opposite. High in sugar and hydrogenated fats. Most filled cookies contain refined sugars and trans fats, two of the biggest triggers of chronic inflammation and arterial damage. These substances spike your blood sugar, reduce insulin sensitivity, narrow your blood vessels, and disrupt blood flow to the legs. The result? Heavier legs, slower muscle recovery, and reduced oxygen supply to your joints and tissues. That sluggish, aching feeling in your lower limbs after a sweet snack? It's not your imagination, it's your body sending a warning. Low in nutrients, high in damage. These snacks are often completely lacking in protein, fiber, vitamins like B1, B6, or magnesium. Without those nutrients, your muscles are left underfed and underpowered, making your legs more vulnerable to cramps, stiffness, and loss of coordination, especially during walking, climbing stairs, or even just standing for long periods. And because they're so low in fiber, these snacks cause rapid spikes, then crashes in blood glucose. That leads to energy dips, muscle fatigue, and a never-ending craving cycle that keeps you reaching for more, while your legs grow weaker. The sodium trap and fluid retention. Some of these processed snacks also contain high levels of salt, which causes fluid retention in the lower limbs, worsens edema, and increases joint stiffness, all of which reduce flexibility and make walking more difficult. Worse yet, this creates the perfect environment for varicose veins, chronic aches, and poor blood return from your legs to your heart. What should you do instead? Instead of grabbing packaged cookies and snacks, reach for a handful of raw nuts or seeds, a small portion of Greek yogurt with fruit, a boiled egg with whole grain toast, or even a homemade oat cookie with minimal sugar. These options offer real nutrients, protein, fiber, healthy fats, and anti-inflammatory benefits that fuel your muscles, not fight them. Remember, after 60, every bite matters. And when it comes to maintaining independence, mobility, and muscle integrity, processed snacks aren't worth the price. Next, we turn to something that's found in almost every pantry. Not a snack this time, but a seasoning. It's meant to enhance flavor, but it may be silently hijacking your muscles and your brain. Let's move on to number 3. Third, MSG in industrial seasonings, the flavor booster that silently weakens your legs. From instant noodles to frozen dinners, from meat broths to quick stir-fry sauces, monosodium glutamate, MSG, is everywhere. It's known as a flavor enhancer, but for people over 60, MSG may do more than just make food taste better. It may be silently weakening your leg muscles, impairing your nervous system, and slowly eroding your physical independence. Let's uncover how this common additive becomes a hidden threat. Disruption of neuromuscular function. MSG interferes with how your nervous system communicates with your muscles. It overstimulates glutamate receptors in the brain and nervous tissue, and over time, this hyperactivity leads to fatigue, cramping, stiffness, and a loss of coordination, especially in the legs. That means walking, balancing, and climbing stairs can begin to feel harder, even when you haven't changed your routine. In older adults, whose neuromuscular systems are already more sensitive, MSG can cause a sense of heaviness or trembling in the legs, numbness, tingling, or unexplained aches, slower muscle response and reduced flexibility, chronic inflammation and circulatory stress. MSG consumption has also been linked to low-grade chronic inflammation, particularly in muscle and joint tissues. Inflamed tissues are more prone to pain, delayed recovery, and reduced blood flow, which is vital for leg strength and endurance. Poor circulation caused by inflammation can result in cold feet or numb toes, swollen ankles, fatigue and soreness after walking short distances, all of which are signs your muscles are being deprived of oxygen and essential nutrients. Energy imbalance and muscle burnout. MSG may also disrupt glucose metabolism, affecting how your muscles access and utilize energy. When glucose can't enter cells efficiently, your muscles become underpowered, slow to respond, more prone to fatigue during even mild activity. This creates a vicious cycle. Reduced activity leads to muscle atrophy, and weaker muscles reduce mobility, independence, and quality of life. Hidden in plain sight. The most dangerous part? MSG isn't always labeled as monosodium glutamate. On packaging, it may appear as yeast extract, hydrolyzed protein, flavor enhancer, natural flavors. This makes it harder for seniors to avoid, especially in products like pre-made spice blends, packet soups, bouillon cubes, marinades, and salad dressings. Even when you think you're making a healthy choice, like seasoning steamed vegetables, you could be unintentionally adding a neurotoxic load to your meal. What should you do instead? Flavor doesn't have to come at the cost of leg health. Replace industrial seasonings with natural, nourishing alternatives like fresh garlic and onion, lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, herbs like thyme, rosemary, and basil, turmeric and black pepper, a dash of sea salt in moderation. These options support circulation, reduce inflammation, and enhance digestion, all without damaging your neuromuscular system. Because in the end, what you use to season your food could be seasoning your future with pain or strength. And now, we're about to enter the most eye-opening part of this journey. You've heard about foods, but what if I told you that even your vitamins, the very supplements meant to protect you, could be contributing to the weakness in your legs? Let's move into the final two, and most surprising, culprits. Next up, number 2. Second, excess vitamin A, the helpful vitamin that harms your legs. Vitamin A is essential. It supports your vision, immune system, and skin health. But what most people, especially seniors, don't realize is that too much vitamin A, particularly from supplements, can lead to serious health consequences. And one of the most overlooked effects is how it weakens your legs. Let's break it down. Accumulation becomes toxic. Unlike water-soluble vitamins that are excreted when in excess, vitamin A is fat-soluble, meaning your body stores it in the liver and fatty tissues. As you age, your metabolism slows and your body becomes less efficient at breaking down and clearing excess vitamin A. This can lead to hypervitaminosis A condition where vitamin A builds up to toxic levels. Muscle and joint pain. One of the earliest and most common symptoms of vitamin A toxicity is muscle pain, particularly in the legs and lower back. This discomfort may mimic arthritis or spinal problems, but in reality, it stems from inflammation in the muscle tissue caused by the vitamin overload. Over time, this chronic discomfort affects your ability to walk or climb stairs, your balance and coordination, and even your posture. Loss of strength. Excess vitamin A also interferes with the absorption of other essential minerals, most notably magnesium and calcium, which are vital for proper muscle function. Without these minerals, your muscles can't contract or relax properly. You experience more leg cramps, stiffness, and fatigue, and your ability to move confidently declines. Even simple movements, standing up, walking, rising from a chair, can become tiring and painful. Impact on bone health. Long-term vitamin A excess is also linked to bone demineralization, especially in areas like the hips, thighs, and knees, the parts of your body that bear your weight daily. In seniors with osteopenia or osteoporosis, this can significantly increase the risk of fractures and falls. Your legs may feel fragile, unstable, or sore, not because of old age alone, but because your bones are being weakened by too much vitamin A. Where it comes from. Most people don't get toxic amounts of vitamin A from food. The real issue comes from high-dose supplements, multivitamins with overlapping ingredients, or fortified foods that push total intake beyond safe limits. Liver, egg yolk, whole milk, carrots, and pumpkins naturally contain vitamin A and are not a problem when eaten in moderation as part of a balanced diet. But when you start adding potent vitamin A supplements on top of your meals, especially without medical guidance, the risk begins to climb. What should you do? Avoid self-medicating with high-dose vitamin A unless prescribed. Be cautious with multivitamins and always check the total vitamin A content. Prefer natural food sources over synthetic supplements. And speak with your doctor about blood tests to monitor vitamin A levels if you take daily supplements. Vitamin A is essential, but more is not always better. And when it comes to protecting your legs, too much of a good thing can quietly take away your strength, step by step. Now, we move into the final and most surprising culprit of all. The vitamin most seniors are told they need more of. But when taken in excess, it may be doing the exact opposite. Let's explore number 1. First, excess vitamin D, the golden supplement that can cripple your legs. Vitamin D has long been praised as a must-have nutrient, especially for older adults. It helps with bone health, immunity, and calcium absorption, making it a go-to supplement for millions over 60. But here's the surprise. When taken in excess, vitamin D can cause serious harm, particularly to your leg muscles, nerves, and mobility. Let's look at why more isn't always better. A silent buildup in your body. Unlike water-soluble vitamins that the body can flush out, vitamin D is fat-soluble, meaning it gets stored in fat tissues and the liver. This means even if you're taking the right dose, it can accumulate over time, especially if you're also getting vitamin D from multivitamins, fortified foods, and sun exposure. Without proper monitoring, this accumulation can lead to hypervitaminosis D, a condition that throws your body's entire mineral balance out of sync. Hypercalcemia and muscle dysfunction. The most dangerous result of vitamin D toxicity is hypercalcemia, or excess calcium in the blood. When calcium levels become too high, the result is leg stiffness and cramps, burning muscle sensations, joint pain, and loss of muscle coordination. These symptoms often start subtly: tight calves, soreness after light activity, or tingling feet, but can quickly escalate into noticeable muscle weakness and impaired balance. Abnormal tissue calcification. Too much vitamin D can also cause calcium to deposit in places it shouldn't, including muscles, tendons, and soft tissues around your knees, thighs, and calves. This abnormal calcification leads to restricted flexibility, joint discomfort, and a general sense of heaviness and fatigue in your legs. Tasks like climbing stairs, bending down, or even walking short distances become more taxing, not because you're aging, but because your body is overloaded with what should be a helpful nutrient. Kidney stress and fluid retention. Excess vitamin D also burdens your kidneys, which are responsible for regulating minerals in your blood. Over time, this strain reduces filtration efficiency, increases fluid retention in the legs, and leads to swelling, tightness, and pain. That uncomfortable puffiness in your feet and calves, it may not be from standing too long, but from supplementing too much for too long. Why it happens? Many seniors take vitamin D without blood testing, thinking more is better. They combine high-dose supplements with vitamin D-enriched foods, unaware that they've crossed the safe upper limit. And because vitamin D toxicity builds gradually, the symptoms, like leg cramps, fatigue, or soreness, are often blamed on aging rather than caught in time. What should you do? Never self-prescribe high-dose vitamin D supplements. Ask your doctor for a 25-OH-D blood test to check current levels. Stick to recommended daily amounts unless advised otherwise, usually 800 to 1,000 IU for seniors. Be aware of cumulative sources, pills, fortified foods, sunlight, multivitamins. Most importantly, understand this. Even nutrients your body needs can become harmful weapons when overused, especially after 60, when metabolism and clearance slow down. Vitamin D is vital, but only when balanced. If you truly want strong, dependable legs that carry you through your golden years, your best ally isn't the biggest pill on the shelf. It's the right amount, taken with purpose and supervision. Freedom matter too. You're not getting older, you're getting wiser. Let's keep walking this path to better health, together.